I've actually felt a little bit burnt out, and I thought that you guys would like a little bit better if you guys learned all of the things that I had to learn the hard way when it comes to working from home. Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, my goal is at the end of this video is to teach you guys the top lessons that I had to learn in the last 10 years working from home. Now, if this is your guys' first time on my channel, my name is Lacaba. I am the virtual ate. I've been working from home since I was 15 years old. I'm now turning 25. So in the last few years, I've had a couple of mistakes and a couple of things that I've learned that I wanted to share with you guys today. So if you're someone who wants to start learning how to work from home, make sure that you hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home. Now, honestly, I had a completely different video for you guys today, but because in the last week, I've actually been creating one video per day for the basic online job skills that you guys can check out right here or by clicking here, I've actually felt a little bit burnt out. And I thought that you guys would like a little bit better if you guys learned all of the things that I had to learn the hard way when it comes to working from home. Now, I actually went on a journey from being just a writer, just someone who was, ghostwriting for people. It wasn't even under my name that I was writing for. So now actually starting and running an outsourcing company here in Cebu City. So I've switched from being employee to now being the employer. And I'm going to teach you guys today what are the top lessons that I've learned from having that whole journey. So the first lesson that I always talk about with people is to be curious. Now, what I mean by that is when it comes to working from home, when it comes to having a career in general, you have to stay curious or else you're going to stop growing. That's a common thing that happens, that when someone becomes a little bit too comfortable with where they're at, when they're a little bit too like, okay, I'm fine here, they stop growing. They stop becoming more than whatever it is that they were meant to be for. So when it comes to almost anything in life, you have to be curious. You have to be curious about learning new skills, maybe. You have to be curious about going outside of your comfort zone of, okay, who else can I help with my services, with what I'm doing working from home? It's being curious about maybe starting your own business or redefining your own goals or just seeing just what else is out there. As a perfect example, I myself am an example of that. When I was 15, I was a writer. At 16, I started editing videos. At 17, I was creating graphics. At 18, I was a VA, a transcriber, and then I became CEO at 20 years old because I'm always curious. I'm always seeing what other skill can I learn? What other skill can I do? I'm always asking myself, like, is this something that could lead somewhere else? Now, I know for a lot of you guys, it's a little bit scary to do that, but when you just stay open, stay curious to learning other things, you'll be surprised of what other things there are. Now, if you guys don't have any idea of where to start being curious, I always recommend to start with what you're currently interested in or whatever it is that, what YouTube channel you're watching, what kind of music you're listening to, what kind of podcasts, kind of books that you're into right now. You start with that. If you have no idea at all when it comes to starting to work from home, I always recommend start with where you're at. Start with your interests. Start with what it is that you already love doing. Start with that. Because then again, it's so much easier to get to that point where you're finding something that you are constantly talking about, constantly wanting to keep doing. It's not a job anymore. It's not work. It's something that you get to do instead of something that you have to do. So for example, let's say you're a huge bookworm. One of the things that you can get started is becoming a proofreader, becoming someone who helps other authors improve their work through their grammar or the structure of their book. So that's where you can get started. I did that for a few years. I was a book editor where I was a professional bookworm. I was helping out, again, authors just polish up their work, polish up their book. So this is all available to you when it comes to working online because you don't have the usual barriers of needing a college degree that matches the job that you're trying to apply for, because a lot of the skills online are new, are technically newer in the world in the sense because 5 years ago, there was no such thing as a social media manager, and now there is something like that. Or even 20 years ago, there was no such thing as a virtual assistant. This is all new. This is all evolving. So the magic in that is if you're someone who just starts with, again, with what you're interested in, you'll never know what it is that you're going to find. I didn't know that I was going to create a YouTube channel this year, but here I am. But it's because I started with what I was already interested in, which then brings me to the lesson, which is Google is your friend. You literally have the information in your fingertips to just type out any question that you have about what it is that you're currently interested in. Let's say that you're someone who's currently interested in fashion. what are the jobs you can do in fashion. You can look at what are these fashion sites hiring for. You can look at the career page and see who they're currently hiring for and seeing if you can match those qualifications. Google is your friend in the sense that you can literally find out almost about anything, any skill, any kind of job that you're interested in, any kind of employer that you even want to work for. You can look them up on Google. You can literally just learn anything right now just by using that search button right there. That's a default usually on your desktop. So try and make it into a habit of, if there's something that you don't know, just Google it, just look for it, just look it up, because a lot of the time what you're going through, someone already went through and succeeded. So they're ready now to teach you. Which brings me to the next lesson, which is mentors are everywhere. Everywhere that you look, there's going to be someone who succeeded in it, someone who wrote out what they went through and how they succeeded, so then you can follow their steps. There's already an expert ready to maybe help you out, to maybe give you a little bit of a piece of advice to keep going. So for example, for myself, whenever I'm learning a new skill, I am following one person, because then it's going to be easier for me to learn rather than having to figure it out all by myself, rather than having to really go from scratch, because again, these people have already laid out a little bit of a map that you yourself can follow, so you don't have to start from scratch. But then the next lesson that I had to learn was to choose your mentors. A lot of the time we think like, oh, this person is the one for me, I'm gonna follow whatever they say. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of the time these mentors had no idea what we had to go through or what you had to go through. So for example, you're choosing a mentor who is from the US, who was already part of a middle class family, and he succeeded in that way. Well, that won't really relate if you're a Filipino who's kind of a lower middle class and starting really from scratch. So you really have to choose who you listen to and pick and choose which parts of who your mentors are you want to actually take action on. It doesn't have to be that you follow every single thing that they do. You have to find what is applicable to you. I have made this mistake so many times before, where I would just follow to the T an instruction from a mentor, but it wasn't catered to me. It wasn't catered to my experience. So I had to pick and choose which one was actually applicable for me, which are the things that I could do myself. So then I could learn faster, so then I could find my own path to get there. Which then, of course, when you're going through that, you then have to choose your friends. Choose the people that you're going to be surrounding yourself with. When it comes to working from home, there are days that's going to be difficult for you to focus. There's going to be days where you just kind of want to lounge around and not do anything. But if you choose your friends, if you choose the people that you surround yourself with, it's going to be so easy for you to just keep going. It's going to be easy for you to know that you have someone to cry on if you're too tired. You know that you have someone who can motivate you to keep going rather than pull you down. So as much as possible, pick people who are either on the same path as you or a little bit further in the path, so they can maybe show you the way, they can maybe also mentor you. So try to keep it in mind of choose who you surround yourself with, because it does matter, it does count in the long run. Because again, of course, you guys will probably already know, you become the people that you surround yourself with. If you're going to be surrounding yourself with people who loves books, you're going to be a bookworm. If you surround yourself with people who loves to cook, you're going to want to cook, or you're going to be the person who's tasting their food. So you really have to choose who you surround yourself with, because a lot of the time it can make or break the person that you're going to become. The next lesson is to basically choose your niche, or choose who you're going to be working for. Now, this is something that is a little bit scary when it comes to, you having no experience when it comes to working from home, but you can choose who your boss is going to be. Keep in mind that just as there's a lot of virtual assistants out there, there's also a lot of business owners who are looking for exactly like you. If their personality doesn't match with yours, then it's not going to work in the long run. I have gone through my fair share of bosses who didn't match with what I wanted to do, with, I didn't match with what they wanted to do. So of course, it wasn't ever going to work. But the reason why you want to choose your niche, why you want to choose your boss, is you want to, again, start with your interests. You want to start with what you're already knowledgeable about, where you can help them, because then it's going to be so easy for you guys to sync up, to work together better, rather than working for someone who, you have no idea what their industry does, you have no idea what they do, they kind of have a little bit of a bad attitude. So you want to choose who you work with, because again, that is a component to your growth, to your success when it comes to working from home. Next is you have to learn to market yourself. Now, I've already done a video on how to brand yourself online, but basically what I mean by this is you have to learn to become your biggest cheerleader. You have to learn that you can only be the one who can really market yourself, versus having to ask your friends to share your posts, or having having your clients just post recommendations, and those do help. But in the long run, you have to be the one sharing your own story. You have to be the one sharing that this is now what you do working from home, rather than trying to hide that from people and just waiting for clients to come. Because as much as they build them and they will come, kind of sometimes works for the right people, most of the time that's more of an exception and not the rule. So for you to really work from home in the long run, you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to really let other people know, like, this is something that I love to do. You know, it's posting on Facebook or Instagram, LinkedIn about your articles, it's about your graphics, about your video, whatever it is that you create, whatever it is that you do. It's showing them that this is something that you like to do and you want to keep being hired to do. The next lesson that I had to learn the hard way is that basically you is equal to your tools. So when it comes to tools, a lot of the time we're thinking like, oh, right away I need a high-end laptop when it comes to working from home. I need fast internet. I need all of these things before I can even start. But the best way to start is just start where you're at. You are only as good as your tools is only as good as you. You could have the most high-end laptop in the world, but if you have no idea how to use it, how to maximize it, it's just a waste of a laptop. You can right now start working from home with just your phone if you don't really have any other choice of just creating graphics on your phone, of writing on your phone, of doing a little bit of email and calendar management on your phone even. It's up to you, but you have to really start with the tools that you have and maximizing that as much as you can. Again, it's not about having the highest end kind of tools, it's how you use them and how you maximize them. That would of course work for you in the long run, and you don't have to change your devices every 10 seconds. Which then brings me to backups as much as possible. Have backups of your files, have backups of your emails, have backups of your passwords. The reason why I'm putting this in here because I've so many times lost files, lost documentation. I'm a little bit like cringy about it, but it's because in the last couple of years, I had to learn this the hard way of putting backups on backups. I've also had to learn to document a lot of what I'm doing. Now, what I mean with documenting is if there's an agreement between you and the client, you're making sure that's actually a written documentation. You're also making sure that if there's any process that you learned, any system that you created, that's also documented. It's actually written down. So you're not a bottleneck for other people. So basically backups has a lot of different things, a lot of different lessons in itself. But again, it's making sure that you have file backups. It's making sure that you have documentations on agreements. It's making sure that you have documentations on processes that you've created for your boss or the people that you work with. So it's easier for you to either train or teach that to someone else. The next thing is to create habits. Now, I've already done a video on how to create habits working from home, but it's basically making sure that you are giving yourself space and time to rest, to take care of your body, to move your body, to take care of your mental health. It's making sure that you are not just putting work as a priority, because it's so easy to just not have that work-life balance at all because you're just getting up from bed and working right away. It's gonna be so tempting to do that. It's also tempting to do the reverse, where you're not getting up from bed, it's too lazy, you don't want to work at all. So having habits that get you up in the morning, get you started. You know, for me, my habits is when I get up, I meditate, I journal, I read a book, I read a nonfiction book, and then I study, and then I start working. Those steps get me up and running, and get me to the point of like I'm in the zone when I'm working. And I've also created a habit that by 7 p.m. I'm not working anymore. I'm now working on C.R.E.Ate, I'm working on different things. So I'm not always sucked in to work. It's giving time again for myself. And of course, be kind. There's so many horror stories out there of both the employer and employees getting ripped off or fighting each other. But the best way to succeed when it comes to working from home is to be kind to people, is to being kind to whoever you work with, whoever you work for, just being professional and keeping in mind that a lot of people have stories that you will never find out about their lives of why they become the way they are. So keep in mind as much as possible to be empathetic, to be kind, to say thank you, you're welcome, to give compliments, to give praises, to celebrate the small things, because in the long run, that's what's going to win. It's going to be who you are, because that's going to be the person that you are bringing to any work, any project, any kind of boss that you work with. You are bringing yourself. So you have to keep in mind that being kind, being empathetic, being someone who's considerate to other people, knowing again that people have lives outside of work just like you do, will help you excel more than those people who stomp on other people to get to the higher ladder. Yes, they can get to the higher ladder But are they going to stay there? Probably not. And in the end, when it comes to working from home, it goes down to trust. How much do you trust your employer to keep paying you? And how much can your employer trust you to get the job done? It's both ways. It can't be one or the other. So as much as possible, please keep in mind to be kind with the people that you work with and the people that you work for. Now, if you guys had any favorite lessons that I shared here today, make sure to comment it below. If you like these kind of videos where I'm just kind of sharing from the heart, not really having a full script, I just kind of want to share where I'm at so it can help guide you, let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button below because that does help grow my channel. And of course, if you still haven't yet, make sure that you hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home. And of course, you guys can check out these other 2 videos that I have right here to get yourself started on your digital career. Now, I'll see you guys in the comments because I still do reply to every single comment that I get. And I hope you guys are having an awesome day. And remember that small steps matters. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!